Nobody is original. Every inspiring piece of music and work of art you have ever experienced has been stolen from people who have done it before. Your job as an artist is not to be original, rather it's to take what others have done and mold that into something that you like. The more successful that you are in blending elements stolen from your influences into a unified whole, the more original you are. This is a concept that I call elemental arranging, literally the arranging of elements. Last week I released a cover of a pop song, Clarity by Zed, which was almost entirely conceived with this concept in mind. So in the process of writing it, I sat down and came up with a list of all the things that I wanted to borrow or steal from people in order to create a unified whole. Here are a list of some of those things that I came up with. 1. Lead vocal bass vocoding. I got the inspiration for this from DrewOfTheDrew, a fellow Berkeley bassist who did a really awesome cover of Thinkin' About You by Frank Ocean. 2. Digital harmonization of sax solo in fourths. I got this from Jeff Coffin, who does it all the time. 3. Playing chopped vocal samples on a keyboard. I got this from Pinn Pannelle's cover of Skrillex's Scary Monsters and Night Sprites, a cover that was released in the golden summer of dubstep in 2012. 4. Hannah Sumner's Built. I like when she sings loud. 5. Trap drums. You are always going to be a product of the times in which you find yourself, and the zeitgeist of the moment right now is trap everywhere. 6. Orchestra doing jazz fusion music. This general vibe I definitely stole from Snarky Puppy's album Silva, which they did with the Metropole Orkestra. The question is how do we take these things and turn them into something new? How do we plagiarize from so many different sources to create something original? Part 1. Narrative structure. The great jazz composer, Jim McNeely, no relation, talks about organizing his music thinking about different characters in a play. Different characters can be things like different instruments or textures or motifs, and they can interact in the same way that characters do in narrative media. The popular sonata allegro form, for example, is very similar to the 3-act narrative structure that you'll find in, well, most books, plays, or movies. The exposition is where we're first introduced to several melodic themes, which is similar to Act 1, where we're first introduced to the characters of the story. The development is where we hear the climactic exploration of musical themes, which is similar to Act 2, the rising action in the story, where the crisis occurs. The recapitulation is where we hear the resolved musical themes, which is similar to Act 3, the eventual resolution of the story. The narrative metaphor goes quite deep if you want to go that direction. You see, the specific elements that we might steal from our influences are meaningless on their own. It's the context that you give them, with something like maybe narrative structure, that gives them their meaning. This gives you the means to hopefully achieve that elusive originality. I imagined my cover of Clarity as sort of a duet between me on bass vocoder and Hannah Sumner, except a sort of, I guess, anti-duet where we never actually sing together. The first half of the arrangement has kind of this hazy character with the robotic vocals and electronic drums and electronic vocal sample, but all of it goes away once Hannah starts singing and the acoustic drums and electric bass kick in. This moment was imagined as, wait for it, a moment of clarity. Character-based narrative musical composition can open up a whole world for you if you feel stuck in a rut. For example, through the use of musical motifs and orchestration, how would you capture the dynamic of Walter White and Jesse Pinkman, or better yet, SpongeBob and Squidward?
I mean, cool, chords can be SpongeBob, I guess, but I only really came here to this channel to learn more about those jazz chords that you use. Give me some more of that luscious jazz. These other people want to know too.
At 211, that hit destroyed me. Thanks for making me fall off my chair at 211.
Oh, right.
211 is what I was waiting for. Adam, what is that chord at 211? It sounds huge and amazing. Holy bass, that chord at 211. Hey, can you explain the theory behind the chord at 211?
All right, yeah, well, it's a triple polychord. It's an F sharp major triad over an E major triad over a D. The F sharp major triad is in the strings over an E in the cello, which blends with the E major triad in the horns over a D, which is in the bass and the piano. It's a pretty spicy voicing, let's be honest, and I got it from 20th Century Harmony from Vincent Persichetti, if you are at all interested in that book and learning more about these spicy voicings.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to know. Are the other chords triple polychords also? What if we used all triple polychords?
Well, that's probably unwise. You see, a big part of this whole process of elemental arranging is Part 2, balancing tension and release. The essence of musical drama really any kind of drama, is tension and resolution. If a harmony is tense, it needs to resolve somehow. Traditionally, harmonic tension and resolution was created by a dominant tonic resolution, the 5/7 chord resolving to the 1 chord.
Yeah, so that's boring. Yeah, I just want to hear clarity, but only with crazy triple polychords.
Well, okay, if that's what you want.
Yeah, now I see why you only used one of those kinds of chords. That was pretty intense.
In its own way, that example does follow harmonic tension resolution patterns, even if the resolution is fairly subtle, to put it mildly. There would need to be a pretty compelling reason to use harmony this dense. Maybe the character is lying to themselves, but they're actually going completely insane, and this is what we are seeing of their insanity. For me, there needs to be a reason to go this extreme with the harmony, and most of the time there isn't because the tension and resolution is blurred so much. But tension and resolution don't only exist in harmony. In electronic dance music, tension and resolution exist as a formal element. The build is a section which creates tension, which is released on the drop. The original version of Clarity has a build which uses things like a filter sweep and also pitch-bent vocal samples. But the question is how do we create tension using live instruments following the tropes of the build in electronic dance music? I could have stolen elements from the Beatles' A Day in the Life, for example, which uses ruckus orchestral glissandos to create tension in a transition, albeit for a very different aesthetic purpose than electronic dance music. But instead, I opted to create ascending triads in the string quartet against the main counter melody performed in the horns. The first violin and the viola are in octaves, and the cello and the second violin are in displaced octaves of thirds. These two sections are rhythmically offset and anticipate the beat to create even more tension. Beyond thinking about tension and release, how else can we balance these elements? Well, part 3, dynamics and texture shift. When I was about 17, I first remember listening to Mingus at Antibes, which was a live album that jazz bassist Charles Mingus recorded in 1960. I remember being struck that even though the first song, Wednesday Night Prayer Meeting, was almost 12 minutes long, I was absolutely hooked all the way through, which was no small feat for somebody new to jazz. About every 30 seconds, the band arrived at a new section where the music changed, quite radically sometimes. The tempo, dynamics, instrumentation, and even improvisatory style shifted quite abruptly and dramatically. Rather than feeling forced and formulaic, it kept the music feeling vibrant, even if the band kept cycling through the same several sections over the course of 12 minutes. Now, I'm not saying that your music should be schizophrenically shifting every 30 seconds, but what I am saying is that as a musician, you are responsible for dynamic shifts, so not everything is too soft, or too loud, or too homogeneous in orchestration and texture. Being aware of elapsed time can be very important in the creative process for a temporal medium like music. Remember, nobody is original. There are just people who can balance stolen elements better than others. And it's not really a big secret on how to do this. It's a matter of technique and how well you can apply this concept of elemental arranging. I hope after watching this video and internalizing the concepts that I've mentioned in it, you can go back and start conceptualizing your music with greater clarity. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Adam Neely. If you enjoy what I do here on this channel, please comment, like, and subscribe. A new video coming out every Monday. If you really enjoy what I do, please consider joining my Patreon, because it's my Patreon patrons. They really make my channel what it is, so thank you so much for all my Patreon patrons. And until next time...
Peace!